Luigi's Mansion is a series that has a special place in my heart. The original Luigi's Mansion is a very replayable and fun game that I come back to maybe 3 times a year. And Luigi's Mansion 3 is a game that I rarely play alone. I mostly play this game in co-op, because that's what it does best in my opinion. And Luigi's Mansion 2 is my favorite, and it's not even close. Yeah, I'm not your typical Luigi's Mansion 1 and 3 meat rider. So Luigi's Mansion 2 originally came out in 2013 on the 3DS and no one expected it, which is a reoccurring theme in this franchise. Every time a new Luigi's Mansion game gets revealed, it comes out of nowhere. Luigi's Mansion 3 got revealed out of nowhere, but people were still excited. The 3DS remake of Luigi's Mansion 1 was just shown in a Nintendo Direct like it was no big deal at all. Which it really wasn't. Like, come on Nintendo, it was 2018, why did you make this for the 3DS? If you could remake this game for the Switch, that would be awesome, just saying. And last year, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD for Switch got revealed, again out of nowhere. So now that I can finally record my own footage for this game, I can finally make the video that this game rightfully deserves. Especially when most of the videos about this game are just people shitting on it for no given reason. Like every time I watch these reviews, I'm convinced we're not even playing the same game. So let's keep things simple and talk about the story first. And don't worry, this won't take up 90% of the video because it's Luigi's Mansion. Don't expect a super in-depth story. So Luigi's Mansion 2 takes place in the Evershade Valley, a place where ghosts are friendly thanks to the Dark Moon that has a pacifying effect on the ghosts. Until King Boo breaks the Dark Moon and all of the ghosts become evil. Now it's your job, Luigi, to save the day once again. Also you gotta save Mario. Phew, that was refreshing. This is the first Luigi's Mansion that I ever played. And of course it's my favorite. I'll try to not let that impact my judgment. So right off the bat you'll realize that this game is very different from the original. First off, there are multiple mansions now. All of them have unique themes, aesthetics and mechanics. Gloomy Manor is your typical looking mansion that mainly uses fire to burn down spiderwebs to reveal more rooms. Haunted Towers are 2 towers that were built around a massive tree. The main mechanic here is using water to make plants grow, and using these pink balloons that allow Luigi to float. Old Clockworks is an abandoned clock factory. It reuses the fire mechanic, but it introduces these bombs that chase Luigi. Secret Mine is a mine covered in ice and snow. It again uses fire to melt ice, but instead of using spiderwebs or wood set on fire, it mainly uses coal, which you can aim and launch with your poltergust, which wasn't possible in the earlier mansions. It also has first-person coal shooters, which I will fully blame for the existence of this terrible boss fight. And it also introduces these portals that teleport Luigi around the mine. Treacherous Mansion is the 5th and final mansion. It's a museum with a bunch of exhibits representing the other mansions.
Good evening.
So it also brings back all the mechanics except for the first-person coal shooters. Thank f***ing God. There is nothing wrong with it, it just reminds me of the boss fight, and I kinda hate it for that. Every mansion ends with a boss fight against a possessor ghost that has a piece of the Dark Moon, and they're pretty good in my opinion. The multiple mansions are nice if you get bored with one building, and they're a nice reason to want to progress. But the game takes a complete 180 when talking about progression. Instead of the free run format that Luigi's Mansion 1 uses, Luigi's Mansion 2 trades that format for a mission structure.
What the fuck?
Calm the f*** down, it's not the end of the world. So the mission structure is the one big reason why many would call this game the worst in the trilogy. But trust me, it's not as bad as everyone makes it out to be. I mean, I sure as hell don't have a problem with it. I've played this game more times than I can count and I'm still not tired of it. So the mission structure limits you to a specific chunk of the mansion, and that's basically the gameplay loop. Complete a certain objective or collect a certain item in said chunk, and then report back to EGAT. This may sound lame because the free run exploration from the first game is no longer present, but there is still exploration for hidden gems. Many like to say that this removes the mystery that the first game had, because EGAT gives you a rundown before each mission telling you what you need to do in said mission. But to that I say, buddy, ever heard of a skip button? You don't have to listen to EGAT's yapping and figure things out for yourself. And that's the only real negative to the mission structure. Let's talk about the good stuff now. The first positive is that you'll never lose your sense of purpose. In Luigi's Mansion 1, you'll sometimes forget what you need to do, and if you take a long break from that game, you might just have to start over. This is not a problem in Luigi's Mansion 2 because of this mission structure. You'll always know what your next objective is. This makes the game simple fun. Now the next positive is really good for me specifically because, well, I'm a YouTuber. This structure allows you to revisit any part of the game, and since I love this game so much, of course I want to make videos about it. So let's say I want to make a video about a certain late game boss. I need footage of it. So instead of having to play the entire game again just to get to that one boss fight, I can just go to my 100% save file and select that boss mission and boom, footage acquired. And that's the mission structure explained. Let's talk about the gameplay now. Aside from the exploration and the rattling dusty old furniture, there is ghost combat.
You're a f***ing loser!
And it's by far the most satisfying ghost combat in the trilogy. When capturing a ghost, you fill up this meter when fully charged up, allows you to electrocute the ghosts, which takes away a bunch of their health. The first game's combat was basically just hammer the control stick until your thumbs fall off, you know, nice. And in Luigi's Mansion 3 you also fill up a meter, but this time you start slamming the ghosts around. This just doesn't make sense and just isn't very fun. First of all, it's a ghost. It should not take damage from being slammed on the floor. And this also makes the combat in Luigi's Mansion 3 piss easy because you can just stun lock ghosts so many times that they don't even get to damage you at all. It's fucking stupid. And that's why I think Luigi's Mansion 2's combat is the best one in the series, because it has the best of both worlds. It has a charge meter from Luigi's Mansion 3 that actually makes sense with electricity, and it has the ghost pulling away effect from Luigi's Mansion 1. All of these gadgets that help you capture ghosts were created by Professor EGAT, and he's a lot more involved in this game. He will create a bunch of different gadgets throughout the adventure. Don't get too excited however, because most of these can only be used in a single mission. They're not permanent upgrades to your arsenal. But you can still upgrade your standard arsenal, which consists of the Poltergust 5000, which does the obvious,
Suck.
the strobe bulb that can stun ghosts and then
Suck.
and the dark light that can reveal invisible illusions. And it also helps with fighting ghosts that have weapons or extra protection. You can upgrade your charge bar and your dark light battery by finding money. This is where the combat system comes in. The higher you fill up the charge bar, the more money you get. Don't ask me how vacuuming a ghost with electricity results in it producing currency. So the quicker you find money, the quicker you'll be able to upgrade your poltergust. I've made a whole video explaining how the money in Luigi's Mansion 2 is actually useful compared to the other games. So if you're interested in that, go watch that after you're done watching this, of course. And this combat system really shines in the bonus missions. Every mansion has one bonus mission which can be unlocked by capturing all the boos in said mansion. Oh yeah, and the boos are back, and instead of being an absolute annoyance like in the first game, now capturing them is actually fun. Like, just look at this, the footage speaks for itself. God, it never gets old. So capturing all the boos unlocks a time challenge where you have access to the whole mansion and suck up any ghost that you come across. It's not much, but it's also not bad. And aside from the main story, there is Scarescraper, and at the time of writing the script I don't have my own footage of it. My online expired. So let's speed this up a little bit. Scarescraper is a series of randomly generated floors where you and 3 other Luigis have to complete different missions. Missions include Hunt, which is capturing all the ghosts, Rush, which is finding the exit before time runs out, and Polterpop, which is capturing all the Polterpops. It's pretty neat. And that's most of the game explained. Let's talk about Luigi himself now. So Luigi's Mansion 1 began the trend of Luigi being a scaredy cat, but that was basically all that it did with Luigi's character. But Luigi's Mansion 2 goes above and beyond to make Luigi the objectively superior Mario brother. There are a ton of little cutscenes that show Luigi just being Luigi, and most of them represent him as this big dumb idiot that has no idea what he's doing, and I love it so much. But in the HD version, some of the animations look a little weird, like, what the fuck is this? This wasn't in the 3DS version. But it really doesn't bother me at all. And the soundtrack, how can we forget about the soundtrack, dude? The soundtrack is the best one in the entire series. Like, I remember all the tracks in the game. Luigi's Mansion 1 and 3 had good soundtracks too, but I only remember a few songs from them. But Luigi's Mansion 2 is on a whole other level. Take a listen to some of the game's highlights. And lastly, the one small negative that I have with this game is Polterpup stealing your shit from time to time. But there are only 3 Polterpup missions in the entire game and only 2 of them can be considered padding, but they're over before you know it, so it doesn't really matter at all. And that's it. That's why Luigi's Mansion 2 is my favorite in the series. So to end off this review slash retrospective, is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD worth it on the Switch? Abso-freaking-lutely. If you haven't played this gem on the 3DS, it's definitely worth it. If you have played it on the 3DS, then it's not necessary, but it's still nice to have this game on the Switch. And if you've made it all the way here, then thank you for watching, you are a real one. And if you're a fan of Luigi's Mansion, then please consider subscribing. I'm so close to 1000. And if not, then okay, have a nice day regardless. And with that said, I'm out. Goodbye.
Hmm.